Take on me.
Is something wrong, Mattdy?
I was just thinking.
That's never good.
I was thinking that it's been just over 2 years since I first downloaded Katawa Shoujo and played Hanako's Path.
Slow reader?
Yeah.
But you did like it?
Well, clearly, yes.
Then what's wrong?
Well, I also just realized this is the last time I'm gonna get to play through Katawa Shoujo. It's the last time that I'll get to play it for the first time. Because after this path, I'll have, finished it.
Oh.
Yeah. But it's also very exciting. I've really enjoyed the journey. And now, finally, I get to give my frank and unfiltered review of Lilly's Path, who I've been saving for last. So why have I been saving Lilly for last? I'm glad you asked.
Literally no one asked.
Literally.
I've been saving Lilly because, well, she's the best girl, obviously. But actually, if you must know the reason, Lilly is my real-life type. I've had a lot of relationships.
Some of them were even actual people.
But I've always found myself very attracted to someone poised and confident, pleasant and measured, sanguine yet reserved, and...
Wait, saying what?
What's sanguine mean?
Sanguine, hopeful, plus point of interest. It also means bloody.
Well, that pretty much covers all the options, don't it?
sanguine, buoyant and optimistic, cheerful, composed, and also someone that has a bit of a hidden mischievous side. And, tall is cool. Yeah, I dig tall.
Take me on.
There's spoilers! She's saying the video has spoilers!
Yeah, this video has spoilers.
They're spoilers.
Spoiler.
Hey, I'm not sure, but I think this video might have spoilers.
So the first thing I noticed playing through Act 1 on my final pass-through of KS, it felt very different than every other time I've ever played the game. Lilly takes a moment to compose her thoughts. When she speaks,
Maybe because you've already made friends with everyone, and there's only one mystery left.
"Hello, Lilly," just as I was expecting. I think I said in my first KS video that Lilly's company is instantly zen, an island of respite in the sea of anxiety. And boy, oh boy, that is as true now as it was then. It's so much different than the energetic tidal wave of Shizune and Misha, or Emi's unbridled enthusiasm that runs you over, or Hanako's anxiety, which has her fleeing and you chasing after her, or Rin with her paradoxically point-blank and vague insights. Lilly's company is welcoming and reassuring, her smile comfortable like a pleasant sunny day. Where did the time go? It seems to just slip away when we're together. And we spend the first scene with her barely talking, just enjoying the peace of it all. And I'm going to come back to time and her reserved personality in a bit. By the way, have I mentioned that I like tea? Like, a lot. I drink a lot of tea. Don't burn your finger, Lilly. That water's freaking hot. So real quick, let's talk about the expression see. As in, see what I mean? Or, you'll see. You see, see doesn't just mean to view something visually. See also means understand, discover. Like most things, it really depends on the context. Look at this, and look, I need to tell you something, have very different connotations.
I see.
And of course, Lilly gets this. But sure, saying see can feel totally loaded with cringe when said to someone blind. So of course, Shizune weaponizes it when she's trying to get her claws into Lilly. In Act 1, when Lilly comes to Classroom 3-3 for Student Council business, and Shizune immediately gets snarky. I talked a lot about the Shizune-Lilly relationship in my Shizune video, so I won't rehash any of that again here. But there is new stuff about Shizune and Lilly's dynamic that I need to mention. And I will. Hold on to that thought. But man, this scene, even though this is, what, the 20th time I've been through it, I really wanted to take a spray bottle to Shizune for being so naughty. Bad Shizune.
But if you did that, then Kenji's prophecy would come true, and Shizune would actually murder you.
Women aren't good at stabbing things.
Dude, her dad has a sword. Why? Why does her dad have a sword?
We already covered that. Anyway, if you haven't figured it out by now, I am a hopeless romantic.
Me too. That sounds nice.
I'm curious. When you say romance, what do you mean?
Well, I always saw romance as the alluring part of a relationship that adds a sense of unfolding giddy excitement. Romance can exist in kindling a new relationship where you're still fumbling around to figure it out, or in a long-term relationship where you're still looking for ways to connect and reinforce the established trust and attraction. It's big and small gestures and moments of building a greater connection with someone in unique and creative ways. It's part flirting, very selfless, and all learning about the person you're attracted to in ways that demonstrate you care. and mostly discovering who both of you are together as a couple. So for me, the walk with Lilly to the convenience store and being able to offer our assistance to her when shopping, because she can't read the labels, is especially nice. Partly because Lilly is quite matronly, patient, creating a placid atmosphere, happy to listen and offer sage advice if we're willing to talk about what's on our mind. And as Lilly talks about opportunities for us to make new friends, it's a good feeling when you're able to help a friend in ways like this. It's not a burden, just a small friendly gesture in Act 1 when ending up on the other paths, but also the start of what becomes the very wholesome and romantic journey of Lilly's path. I really didn't realize these small slice-of-life elements of the story were totally what I was hoping for. Captivating aspects of sentimental moments that felt rich and precious, without being syrupy or trite. I did want more and longer descriptions of Lilly holding our arm, or sleeve, or hand, or however, when we were walking with her throughout the route. The times when there was focus on it, for me, were some of the key elements that really connected to her character as a romantic interest. So, back to helping in the convenience store. Right from the start, we're relying on Lilly for her advice and, observations. She's doing a lot to help us adjust to this new life, so being able to repay the favor even in these small ways reinforces that feeling of being equals. And maybe that's why on the walk back to Yamaku, we're ready to confess our heart arrhythmia to her. Her concern is genuine. So let's leave Act 1 and get on to Lilly.
Phrasing.
Get onto Lily's path.
Actually, Hizao doesn't really get on Lilly. It's more the other way.
You're jumping ahead. Anyway, if we decide that maybe stalking Hanako to the library is a bad idea...
Oh, but no problem going to town to stalk Lilly.
Then we find ourselves on Lily's route. And although we don't find her around town or in the park, no trip to town is really complete without stopping by the Shanghai. Ohio, Lily and Akira.
Hello.
So, anyone else caught that twice in a row in town, Lilly has noticed that our breathing is pretty messed up from our heart? This is, going to be the theme of the route, isn't it?
It's kind of a theme of a visual novel.
Well, yeah, sure, obviously. But in Emi's route, it's just the one time on the track, really. In Hanako's, there's that one time in bed. In Rin and Shizune's route, it's so minor that it doesn't drive the story in any meaningful way. But, here... Damn it. Lily's mischievous side is happily confirmed when we ask if she'd like to go see more of the festival. See? I told ya. She gets to play hard to get for a moment. And that's what I'm talking about. The small peeks into her playful side, teasing and flirty, put a big smile on my stupid face. Immediately upon being on Lily's path, Hizao has an uptick of attitude. Maybe this comes from Hizao seeing that Lily has her future planned out. Now, the fact that Lily plans ahead as part of her character is not lost on me. When Lily plays chess...
Wait, Lily plays chess?
Sure does, and put a pin in that for later too, when we talk about her planning ahead. I didn't quite get how she could tell which pieces were hers, but the idea that she's feeling out, then picturing the whole board in her head, so she's seeing all of the board, planning different moves, considering Hanako's counter moves, all of this in her head, this is really impressive.
She takes a long time to make a move.
Yes, Hanako. Yes, she does. And the whole scene was reminiscent of Rin.
Rin? Really?
No.
Sir, step away from the visual novel.
No, I'm being serious.
Oh, wait, you're serious? Let me laugh even harder.
Well, think back to Rin's theme of things you can do because you can't do them, so you do them. She can't, but she can, so she does.
Yeah.
Although there are things she can't do without help, shopping for example, she's prideful and pushes herself to do the things she can to the fullest. Cooking and chess are great examples, but she's also humble enough to be willing to seek help from others when she needs it, just as readily as she's willing to help others when she can. It was a very nice, strong way to remind us of what Yuko's been saying throughout this game.
These things are only a problem if you make them one.
That's a great lesson for all of us.
Very wholesome.
You know, ignoring the lewd for a moment, the whole game is different flavors of brutal wholesomeness, and I think that's a huge part why we love KS so much. But this moment, chess, really got me considering a lot about Lily, how she processes the world around her, all the events that come her way. And I'll come back to this. But first, let's talk about
Hanako's birthday!
Hanako's birthday. It never goes well.
I've got to do something.
Look, I mean, this is a visual novel, and it's a good one. And I'm not an idiot. I mean, I am an idiot. But I get that this is a story, a good story, that has ups and downs, conflicts to resolve, problems to overcome, demons to exercise, character growth. It's all part of the journey. Without them, the story would get boring. Like life, the downs help you learn, and the downs make you appreciate the ups. And right now, I'm just having a really good time on Lily.
Oh my.
Spath. enjoying the time together, and really looking forward to the next encounter with her.
And waiting for things to go sideways?
So, yeah, I'm a little paranoid. About time, man. Anyone not paranoid in this world must be crazy. Why do you think people built castles? Because they thought they looked nice? No, they were paranoid that out there was a threat. And then you know what happened? Bam! Vikings! It's not paranoid if they really are out to get you. Which they are. Anywho, Hanako's birthday comes around and Maddie gets to spend time with two of my favorite ladies. No. These favorite ladies. Hanako seems more manageable in Lilly's route than she does in her own route. In fact, we get along better with Hanako in Lilly's route than we do with Hanako in Hanako's route. Hanako doesn't stutter or stammer most of the time.
Hanako's gonna join the newspaper club and she's gonna travel the whole country.
Yeah, and all I could think was, fuck. Hanako becomes more of a whole person in Lilly's route than she does with us chasing her in her route. What the hell does that say about us? Or Hisao?
Perhaps not moving towards a relationship with Hanako means there's less pressure on her.
Alright, that makes sense. But still, she couldn't even go shopping at night by herself, in her own route. Hanako coming out of her shell was good, just unexpected, how quickly she did. Then again, this is Lilly's route, and since the story doesn't evolve into a situation where Hanako's dependency becomes an issue, Hanako does need to get onto her own feet rather quickly. You know, that whole story thing again. And maybe Hisao making friends with Hanako showed Hanako that she can have friends. Being around people isn't as bad as she was working it all up to be. But back to Paranoia. Back to reality. Something happens while shopping for Hanako's birthday present. We run into Akira, and they have an off-screen conversation that brings Lilly's mood down. Wait, this is it, isn't it? This is all the bad stuff.
Who knows? She doesn't tell us what's going on, and we don't ask.
And we don't ask. But you know what? I can make that work. I mean, me personally, I totally would have asked Lilly. What's up? Look, you're always here for me to talk to. No pressure. But I hope you trust me enough to return the favor. You clearly have something weighing heavily on your mind. And see if it was something she wanted to talk about. But Lilly never really pries. She patiently waits, ready to listen, unassumingly, for when Hisao is ready to share what's on his mind. So, as that mirror to Lilly, it makes sense thematically that Hisao doesn't push. And then later she does tell us she has to leave for a bit to visit her family in Scotland. Yeah, right. Like that's a real place. But this happens in Hanako's route too, so... Wait, Hanako's route ends before Lilly comes back from Scotland. This is it, isn't it? Should I start getting worried now? There aren't a lot of conflicts on Lilly's route so far. There isn't the unending battle of wills that is Shizune's route, or the rabbit hole of trying to decipher the maze of the mind of Rin. Or the starkly different manners of chasing Emi or Hanako. Being on Lilly, Freezing! route is much more of a standard visual novel romance. Vanilla like her tea and ice cream. And yet the route does a great job of being very positive, while still keeping it entertaining and interesting. A lack of conflict does not preclude being kept on one's toes in a story, like the totally unexpected lunch on the roof with Lilly and Hanako. More unexpected, lunch on the roof with Emi and Rin and Lilly and Hanako. Yup. Not gonna lie, this is pretty awesome. Just me and my mayonnaise sandwich, a commanding view on a beautiful day, and several girls who have let me see them naked. Oh yeah, good stuff. If you could see the size of the grin on my face.
What could possibly go wrong?
Oh, I know. Hisao could nearly die on the roof. We haven't done that in 5 minutes.
God damn it, that's 3. 3 times. Or 4? 3? Fuck. Stupid hard plot device is giving me high blood pressure. Good point about being your own best advocate and appreciating all you have, because the life is fragile and every day is a gift is reinforced by the impending sense of doom, because Hisao's freaking heart is literally a time bomb.
Literally.
That time thing again.
And then Lilly goes to Scotland.
I really didn't want her to go.
Yeah, Hanako, me too. I missed her before she was even gone. And of course I spoke way too soon about Hanako getting better. Lilly leaves and we're left alone to try to care for Hanako, which even in the most meager way does kind of bring it back to the helplessness often experienced on her path. Being passive ain't my what, Misha?
Bailiwick!
That's right, it ain't my bailiwick. And then, when we're presented with a choice here in the story, I thought what a great opportunity at this moment to affect how well, or at least how quickly Hanako comes out of it. Really give Hisao and the player a chance to show that supporting a friend is important. No? Really? A meaningless choice.
Lily's back.
Hooray! Lily's back! Homecoming is a little estranged and clumsy, but good news! We're gonna head out together to a summer house in Hokkaido. Yeah, right. Like that's a real place. where Hisao decides this may be a good time to confess my feelings, which is good.
Or not.
No, there are strong feelings for Lilly. It's time to see if she also feels the same way too.
But, you really want to do this on a trip at a summer house far away from Yamaku? You know, where you're both isolated, so if it goes bad, you're stuck there? Jackass?
What could possibly go wrong?
I'm not worried about it. Lilly has a lot of positive things to say about us, to us, and there's a good deal of flirting that's been happening on the route so far, like on the road when she tells us,
You're different.
and we got a kiss on the cheek after giving Lilly the music box at Hanako's birthday, while Romance Nadante 2 was playing. Yeah, we like Lilly, and it's pretty obvious she likes us too, right? It's time to listen to Yuko here.
You should definitely tell her.
But things do get weird on the trip up north. Lily's not a morning person, and yet it's Hisao who bitches on the train platform about having to get up so early. I mean, like, really complains.
Now you did it. You embarrassed Hanako. You monster.
The way he whines just feels very out of place. Is this a side effect of his medications? Or a side effect of him not taking them this morning? Whatever the reason, it's jarring. And he just comes across like, well, not like Hisao. Fortunately, Lilly is very forgiving, and Hisao tones it down. Lilly is very forgiving. The train ride goes well, and we make it to the Sato summer house.
This house is distinctively less Japanese than I expected. Doesn't really look Scottish either.
But who cares? We get to have dinner with Lilly and Hanako. I must say that I could really get used to playing house with Lilly and Hanako. This part was really well written, nicely set up in atmosphere and mood. Everything is going really, really well. Motherfucking protagonist, you better not die, Hisao. That's 4 times. 5? I can't remember. I'm just glad this isn't a drinking game. The helplessness that Lilly feels as Hisao hugs the ground hanging onto life by a thread only compounds the anxiety of this scene. I found my own heart tightening. What if Hanako wasn't there? They're about a mile from anywhere. Lilly can't run off and get help.
I really wanted to see the village.
Hisao has just had a relatively major cardiac episode, where he scares the bejesus out of his 2 closest friends. And when he eventually recovers, he finds himself alone in the house. Then outside, in the beautiful field of wheat, he finds Lilly. And she's crying, and she confesses her love, and it is beautiful. Wait a minute. No, stop. Get back to the field. Get back to the field. She confesses she loves us, but we really scared her back there on the road, and she asks us to stay with her. Hisao accepts her confession, but doesn't tell Lilly what he feels. I would have. Before she even said anything, I would have told her. Look, I understand you've mostly been alone your whole life, and that sucks. And since living at Yamaku, you don't even get to see Akira much. And well, yeah, I've fallen for you, Lilly. And I don't say that to make you feel any obligation to me. It's just the way I feel, and I wanted to say it. You've helped me to see all the positives in my life, and helped me so much getting my life back on track. I feel like you've done more for me than I have for you. I know that I'd regret not telling you how I feel. It's true that I'm in a very precarious position here with my heart. I may live a long time, or I may not. And I understand if that kind of future is too painful, one so uncertain. I'd understand if you wouldn't want to take that kind of chance with me. But I do know that I'm better with you, so no matter what happens after this moment, I want to thank you for every moment that's happened prior. Because, Lilly, I didn't know that I could be this happy with someone.
You big smoothie.
I'm guessing that was the right thing to say, because now she's naked.
That was fast.
That's what she said.
But, actually it does feel kind of fast.
Hasn't anyone heard of foreplay around here?
I mean, I'm not complaining, but, and a little more,
You know that convertible futon folds out to a bed. You don't have to do it on the floor.
Hush you. It's sexy time on the floor time.
Oh my. I'll be in my bunk.
So back to this Shizune Lilly thing. I am that good. There does seem to be some deep, dark secret going on. Shizune and Misha have dropped that clue several times, and the vagueness of it only adds to the mystery. Whatever it is, it's a big enough of a deal to get Shizune's panties in a twist with Lilly constantly. It's also big enough that Kenji uses it to warn us away. I heard some stuff, and some things. What the hell is it? Lilly is the natural foil to Shizune, so yeah, the conflict is a nice dynamic and contrast. But Lilly and Shizune are actually more similar in many ways than they are different. From the tenting of hands in their poses, to filling the class leadership roles.
They're both kinky with bondage and blindfolds?
Let's come back to that. But honestly, coming back from Hokkaido and falling into the tests, something is off. The sense of conflict in Lily's route is not overt. Something, well hidden, lurks. Hisao's botched heart is the obvious wrench in the gears. But no, I think it's something else. Time. It feels like time is running out. Partly because I know the story and my KS journey will eventually end. But more than that, the story within the story may be short on time. Yeah, the specter of time looms large, and I'm trying to ignore all the tiny little doubts and really enjoy this time because, like she said,
be who you are and don't ever apologize for being you. Enjoy what you have while you have it.
There is the feeling that Lilly definitely has something on her mind, something she's not sharing or not ready to share yet. And things seem to be coming to a head when she bumps into Kenji and they both go tumbling. She gets really uncharacteristically angry. How much emotion does she lock away? What's really making her so angry? And when she apologizes, what is she really saying sorry about? Maybe I'm reading into it too much. We meet up with Akira, and she ends up blessing the relationship. They're sisters, they're close, so it's cool that they've talked about us. And Lilly is pretty traditional. Having that blessing from Akira, even if it's nothing more than a symbolic formality, it means a lot to her. We even get to have a beautiful date with Lilly.
Man, she looks good in that dress.
Lady in red.
Muto explaining that even at a young age, people possess intense wonderment about the world around them and how it works made me try to put myself into Lily's shoes, how she sees the world, and the game made me notice small things that I hadn't considered. Lily's going to visit her aunt in Scotland that's sick. She says,
I barely remember the sound of her voice.
Not barely remembers her, but barely remembers
the sound of her voice.
Because that's how Lilly sees everyone. She doesn't know if they're tall, short, strong, thin. Holding onto Hanako or Hisao while walking, Lilly gets a ton more information than just talking to somebody. Just like how Shizune can't hear the intonation in someone's voice, which conveys quite a lot of information as to the subtext when they're speaking. Lilly can't see the cues that people give each other all the time. The changes in body language and facial expression, how we hold our hands or carry our shoulders, all the things that offer subtle and not so subtle indicators of someone's mood shift and deeper meanings behind their words. Just like in Mind Your Step, on the way back from shopping, physical contact means she can gauge more than just sound alone. The incredibly intimate act of feeling the changes in someone's mood. Lilly has a ton more information on Hisao and Hanako than she has from anyone else in the school, simply by touching them.
That band-aid on her finger is going to mess her up.
Also, Lilly is able to pick apart the wash of sound in the city. Cars, buses, trains, people, more people. And through that discordant mixture of sounds and smell, she's able to hear her sister's voice. And she does all of it while still being able to pay attention to a conversation with Hisao and enjoy her ice cream. Which made me think back to the chessboard. So when we leave the festival to go find Hanako together, and she remarks how nice and quiet it is inside, that really told me a lot, that her mind was getting a chance to rest from the cacophony of noise of the festival and all the work involved in processing the ever-changing environment around her, seeing every piece of the chessboard moving at the same time. And that whole blindfold thing, definitely mischief.
And maybe a tiny bit kinky.
Like I said, she's my type in real life. But no, the blindfold is more Lilly helping Hisao to see beyond his narrow point of view, to answer a lot of the questions he seems to have about her, and also to get him to take the lead in the sexy time. Even though being blindfolded isn't the same as being blind. When we close our eyes, they still work. We see dark. I remember when I was very young in school, a blind person came into class and we started asking questions about what they see being blind. They said,
nothing.
We asked, a dark nothing? A light nothing? They said,
neither. Both of those are things. I see nothing.
And then, boom, goes the dynamite. And it isn't even Hisao's heart this time. Akira unexpectedly meets up with us and tells us that they're leaving, moving to Scotland. No doubt Akira tells us because, being allergic to bullshit, she knows Lilly hasn't. But Lilly hasn't made a decision. Will she cave under the pressure of her parents? Has she not told us about this for another reason?
Maybe she thinks it'll be bad for your heart.
The entire rest of her family is in Scotland. Without Akira, she'd have no one here, as playing house with Hanako really isn't an option. It would infantilize her, and we all know how that turns out. Would Lilly stay? Hisao believes that Lilly has a strange way of becoming addicted to things. He said it several times during the route. So maybe we're one of those things she's become addicted to. Learning about the summons to Scotland made me think back to something that got my spidey sense tingling earlier, jumping right into bed together.
That was fast.
That's what she said.
There's a reason it felt rushed. It was. Lilly is pushing the relationship quicker than she normally would if the circumstances were different. There's a lot to unpack behind that, and we will, very soon. Akira also talks about the family history. I agree, Akira. They have not been good to Lilly, even if Lilly is so quick to forgive them. But back to the story. We're just sitting there, not knowing what Hisao will say to Lilly, or why he hasn't said anything to her yet. He waits. I am so not good at waiting. It is not my bailiwick. I know what I'd say to Lily. I'd say, I know you have a huge decision before you, and if you decide to stay, you should know that I want to be successful in my career. And then at the end of every day, come home to a home you also call yours, to be with you and to hold your hand. So if you're wondering about the future, I want you to know the way I see it. But Asao doesn't do that. He does...
Nothing.
God damn it, I mean, fuck, dude, you've got time together before she leaves, and you don't do anything with it. I get that this is a difficult situation, but doing nothing has never been a solution, except in Hanako's path. But wait a minute, am I on the bad end? Is this like Rin's route, where the true, not good end doesn't happen until like 2 hours after the choice? Holy shit, I don't like it. I want to go back. And now Lily is walking away. Ow, my feels. I had to take a break here. Ahem. So, now do the Lily evil memes make sense? What? The Lily is evil memes. You are making that up. No, dude, trust me. A lot of people think that Lily is evil. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm gonna beat you with a phone. Look, Lily found out about the summons to Scotland when she visited. Got that? So she had the big I love you and confession, while knowing there was a very real chance that she would leave in a few weeks and then never see Hasao again. And she purposefully kept that information from him. She really never gets taken to task for deceiving Hasao about things, but it's a counter-narrative to the idea of Lily as a pure goddess who does no wrong. No, nah. I think that really ignores who Lily is and why she is the way she is. Her uncertainty is understandable. Think about it. This is a huge decision with no great outcomes either way. Alright, let's do this. Here we go. When Lily knows something, she likes to show it off. She's possibly a worse secret keeper than the nurse is.
And that's saying a lot.
In Emi's route, we run into her in the library, and she mentions our morning runs and lunch with Ms. Iburazaki. She heard that from somewhere, and she doesn't hide that she knows it. In Hanako's route, Lily tells us,
I'm sure you'll come to know Hanako as well as I do, soon enough.
Implicating the chats that she and Hanako have had about us. Add to that the part of the tea party where she obviously let slip that Hanako was planning this to be a special event, and she put some thought into it. Lily teases Hanako about it right in front of us. So let's talk about Lily and Shizune. Of course, the story never tells us why Lily and Shizune have such an acidic relationship. I'm sure there was much more to it in the game's development of both of the characters than simply a pair of foils, with ideally clashing conditions and personalities. Then, with Lily leaving forever to go to Scotland, Shiz makes peace with Lils, and like a light bulb snapping on in my head, I got it. I figured it out. They both have parents whose ideal of parenting is, well,
fucked up.
Super fucked up. And then when Lily falls and her frustration spills out, there's only one time in the game where Lily even gets close to that kind of anger. So why do Shizune and Lily fight? It's because they can. Lily's family is gone, left her at a boarding school, and fucked off to Scotland without her. Akira works all the time, but still drives the long distance to Yamaku to visit her, sometimes only staying for a moment. As much as Lily appreciates that, it has to make her feel like a burden. Shizune's family has never been there for her either. They are a fiasco. She's deaf, and not a single person there knows sign language. The two of them have all these things in common, and this one, delinquent parenting, is the biggie. Other than Akira, no one understands Lily's family situation and abandonment as well as Shizune does. No one understands Shizune's family and the apathy towards her as well as Lily does. Are they fighting, or are they venting? Maybe it's consensual lashing out. That's why Akira shrugs it off. It's the one time the anger and frustration Shizune and especially Lily feel from the epic failures of their parents gets release. Something only they can share, masked as a catty back and forth bickering, which actually is yet another way that Shizune is selfless in her selfishness. Ham-fisted as always, but still. Being there for Lily in a way no one else can. Being each other's punching bag. So outside of that one chance that Lily gets to vent, with Shizune, Lily is completely composed. She has a nuanced and poised outer shell. From the very start, we're struck by her formality and her decorum, her proper etiquette and dignity. They're things that are not just important to her, they're also the only thing in her life she knows she can always rely on. Because really, what else does she have? When we first find Lily, she is alone in the empty classroom. Maybe Hanako will show up, and maybe she won't. How many times since coming to Yamaku has she spent time here by herself? Sat in this room, by herself. Alone. Lily saw Hanako's company, just spending time together, as something just as valuable to Lily as all of her support for Hanako, maybe even more valuable. Without it, every day she's back to that moment, alone in a quiet room, left behind, waiting. Her birthday was just Lily and Hanako. Maybe that's why she became class rep? Maybe that's why she helps her classmates and Hanako and us to make connections, to have friends. Even if, from an outsider's perspective, they rely on her much more than she relies on them. For those moments, at least it's not sitting alone, waiting. The tears that accompany her confession in the field at the summer house are the fragments of her wall coming down around her, shattering, letting Hisao in. Remember, at this point in the story, Hisao is only a friend.
A friend who keeps trying to die every chance he gets.
They have no relationship of any kind yet. Yes, she likes him. She likes him a lot. And now her parents are again taking something away from her. The chance to have a real relationship with someone. Her chance for a relationship with Hisao. Lilly is proper, and the proper thing to do is to heed the demands of your parents. She has a very real chance to reconnect to her family in Scotland. Akira's going there too. What are her options? In spite of all of that, she confesses. She lets Hisao in, allowing him to be someone close in a way that goes against everything that she's used to. It's her first ever intimate relationship. Before Hisao, she had a secret unrequited crush on a tutor. That's it. The crush on her tutor wasn't appropriate. She could never do anything about it, but she always regretted that she was never able to see those feelings realized, and she ended up alone again. She doesn't want to make that same mistake, living with unrequited feelings. Yet another missed opportunity. Add to that Lilly takes time to formulate her responses, takes time to say and do things, like when she plays chess or eats. Her actions seem choreographed, carefully planned. But like chess, she's not great at it. The hardest part of any connection is trust, to let someone in, to allow yourself to be vulnerable. If you're Lilly, who's only known being left alone, how do you do that? Think about that for a moment, how surprised and excited she was that we remembered the promise to take her to Tanabata. Her reaction told me that too often she's only known disappointment, enough so that she expects it. The symbolism of Lilly standing deep in a wheat field, no cane, no walls or path or landmarks of any kind, just the sea of wheat, a place she could far too easily become lost in and have an impossible time finding her way back to the house from, is more than just a nice imagery of a scene. It's the metaphor where she is in her life right now. No, she's not a perfect lady, and despite her squared away appearance, she's just as lost and alone as the rest of us. A pair of old fools, or just two children pretending to be adults. And there are several times that Lilly is about to tell Hisao something, but Hisao cuts her off, only wanting to assuage any concern and instead assure her that everything is all right. This moment, right here, it's all okay. And even if you disregard all of that and still think this one thing was totally unforgivable, does that get rid of all the good stuff that she's done prior to it? I don't think so. Life is a journey. We learn along the way. I'm not perfect. I've screwed up a lot. And I would hate for one mistake or one facet of my personality to be the sole judge of who I am. We're all young fools. We're all children pretending to be adults. And if you can't forgive Lilly, then you really can't forgive Hisao, who after time and time again telling her not to worry about his condition, breaks his promise by not taking his take daily not to die pills 2 days in a row, causing the problems on the road in Hokkaido.
I actually did want to see the village.
And remember earlier, I talked about the this is a story thing? Do you really think the devs wrote this and thought to themselves, muhahaha, here's the part of the good end where everyone hates Lilly?
That's even dumber than believing Hisao forces himself on Hanako on her route.
Do not get me started. I could do an entire video on how asinine that idea is. I just have too much faith in Katawa Shoujo to ascribe to a Lilly is evil meme.
A special level of hell. A level they reserve for child molesters and people who talk at the theater. What?
It's no different than the Blue Katawa bad people.
The special hell.
So, that Lilly doesn't immediately tell us about her summons and the choice she has to make means to me she knows what she's supposed to do, which is very different than what she wants to do, and she's not yet sure what she's going to do. Because if Lilly knew, well, she's pretty lousy at keeping secrets, remember?
And that's saying a lot.
There's definitely a lot more going on here than just, Lilly didn't tell Hisao. But goddammit, Hisao, if Lilly is worth fighting for, then do something. This is not the time to be passively supportive. Hear what she has to say, and tell her what you want to say. Yeah, she could say no, but at least then you wouldn't have done...
Nothing.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained, and neither Lilly nor Hisao venture here. That's what Hisao meant when he said, I should have been there for you, as a friend first, and helped you look objectively at your options. And he should have said, yes, I'm completely biased towards your decision, but you know what? There's a reason I'm biased towards wanting you to stay, and I'd put that in the reasons to stay category. Because Lilly, you are alone. But we're all alone. Every single one of us across the globe, alone. And if you go to Scotland, you will be with your family, and alone. And if you stay here, well, maybe you and I can be alone together. Lilly, I don't like to think about a life where I can't hold your hand and talk to you, where we don't have tea, walk to the store, and shop together. But you have to do what's best for you. And if you decide what's best for you is leaving, I just need you to know that I think that sucks. I don't think that I would ever get over you, Lilly. Things are better with you, including me. I'm better with you. Which, yeah, I guess would be a pretty heavy thing to dump on her. So I can see why she didn't tell us right away. But now we're at the end. I think we're at the end? Is this the end? We're almost out of time. Shit. God, Hisao is so infuriating. Do something, for fuck's sake. You squander the tiny bit of time that you do have together. Make sure these last few days are the best she's ever had in her life.
Nothing.
Oh, my heart!
Are you crying?
Are you not? Am I on the bad end? Seriously, this feels like the fucking bad end. Oh, now you decide to do something. Now you're gonna go after her. Great, nothing like the last minute, huh? A major driving theme of the story is use the time you have. And now, it's too late. And there goes his heart again. That's just great.
Calm down.
You calm down. I'm really starting to question my proclivities here.
Here's the definition of proclivity.
Not now! I swear to God, every time that I think I'm gonna... But I'm the guy with brain damage, so what the fuck do I know? Because now, at least character, I just happen to hate the limp dick. Just wanna goddamn...
Well, you only need the light when it's burning low. Only miss the sun when it starts to snow. Only know you love her when you let her go. Only know you've been high when you're feeling low. Only hate the road when you're missing home. Only know you love her when you let her go. And you let her go.
Mattyd?
Is he alright?
I don't know. Quick, check his wallet.
What happened? Oh, thank God. I mean, the whole route I've been worried that things were going to go terrible at any moment, and it didn't, kinda. I mean, it did with the Scotland Ex Machina, and Hisao the Wonder Slug. But still, she's here. Lily's here. It's not just the message, but also the messenger. Lily's confident and delicate way is something that really draws my attention and makes me listen, makes me hear what she's saying. Like I said, she's my type in real life. Hisao does sort of go through the route with a disengaged inevitability, and the path does feel the most vanilla of them, the closest to a regular romance visual novel. But yeah, it's Lilly. Take me on. Where Emmy's route makes you tell your heart condition to go pound sand,
to stand up for yourself.
And Emmy inspires you to meet your challenges head on and deal with your past tragedies. Lilly makes you examine the cards life has given you and play the hand you're dealt. Where Hanako's route subverts expectations by punishing white knighting,
To face your fears.
and finding strength to bear your traumas. Lilly demands you recognize your own vulnerabilities and learn to accept that we can need help and help each other. Where Shizune's route punishes you for playing her route. Let me finish. Punishes you for playing her route and not accepting the idea that regardless of your limitations, you must always demand the best of yourself. And
Speak true to who you are.
Lily's does the same. Never apologize for who you are, but more focusing on humility and empathy. And Rin, I'm still coming off of Rin.
Phrasing.
Rin's path teaches us, well, perspective. We all see the world differently. We all question who we are and what is our place in the world.
Yes.
And as broken as we all are, it's okay. We still need to seize what's there in front of us. Lily's path teaches us to appreciate the small day-to-day joys and cherish the time and the friends that we have. I love the slice of life of it, the simple moments of joy that make life worth living, things that you take time to appreciate and that you want more of, right?
And I've never seen that dress you're wearing, or the highlights in your hair that catch your eyes. And I've been blind.
When I first downloaded Katawa Shoujo, I was in a really dark place in my life. You probably remember that from the first KS vid, which was actually my second visual novel video ever. Before that, I was burying the pain, making World of Tanks gameplay videos. I'm a very different person now than I was when I first started this grand adventure. Better than I was. I uninstalled World of Tanks, made a ton of visual novel videos. I've been on several teams that have made visual novels. And now I have my own team that's making our own visual novel. I'm a better person than I was, and I think that Katawa Shoujo had a lot to do with that. The stories are well written, the lessons are wholesome. I'm still a hot mess, but the friends I made, both real and imagined, have helped me to grow and try a little harder each day. This journey has been an important part of my life. Am I sad it's over? In a way, sure. But I'd rather have lived it from beginning to end than never to have known it at all. Right, Yuko?
What's important is to concentrate on what you can do, rather than what you can't do. At least, that's how I see it.
That's how I see it too.
Hey, Maddie.
Yo, Chibi Matty.
So that's it, huh? This is the last KS video? No more after this one?
Well, not until the secret Katawa Shoujo 2 is released at the 10-year anniversary.
Wait, really?
Understand, never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you, never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you.
Wow, that was evil.
But seriously, all things come to an end, my friend.
Well, a lot of people have suggested you do a Hazao video.
He does face a lot of challenges, many of which are parallels to the shoujo he's with. We rode him pretty hard in the vids with the main character visual novel syndrome, but he definitely has more success than failures on each route. And most of all, he does make our best girls happy, and ends up with them in the good ends. So maybe we're just a little bit jealous of the guy.
Well, what do you say? Make a Hazao video? Give your thoughts on what you'd like and dislike about him in each of the stories?
Nah, fuck that. I'm gonna go read Summer's Clover.
No more videos?
Well, I do have a ton of visual novels I still want to play. Right now, all of my time is taken up with Omoneko. I'll leave it as a maybe.
Never say never.
I promise, Lily. After all, the future is yet to be written.
But thank you for spending time with me.
I'll be coming for your love, okay? Take